Welcome back. So today we thought we'd talk about personal branding. And the reason we thought of it is that we are doing a big program for Samsung Global, actually national, next week for right now it's over 1,000 attendees. And we're talking about personal branding to their next generation leaders. And then we found out that it's all ages and all stages of career that are joining.
Right.
This is a topic that just really, it benefits everybody. It's important to everybody, but it also confuses people because we don't like to commodify ourselves and think of ourselves as a brand.
Well, and I also think for our career relaunch, our audience and pivoters, it's like, well, where does that fit for me? You know, especially when you are determining what it might be. So let's just start at the very beginning. Let's give an explanation to what is a brand and what is branding. Those make the difference between the distance.
So again, not everybody's comfortable with the word. We don't use it that much in our programs, but it's just the reality.
We say know who you are.
Exactly, which is much nicer vernacular. But your personal brand is what you present to the world. It's the way people perceive you. It's what people think of when they think of Kelley Biskupiak.
Right.
It's perception. It's what people decide is your strength, your aptitude, and where they want to use you.
Yeah. Okay. And then branding itself is what?
That's the act of intentionally behaving a certain way, putting yourself out there with the goal
and the intention
of having people perceive you a certain way.
Yeah.
So if I want to be perceived as someone who's extremely organized, that's what I want to be. My brand, just for full disclosure, it is like could not be anything further from that. But then I want my behavior to show that when people come into my office or into my home, I want them to see that when I show up at a meeting. If my biggest goal is for people to perceive me as organized, I'm going to be the one with the color-coded notebook with the tabs, who whatever piece of every document we need, I'm the one who has it. Right. So behavior drives how you're perceived. So you can be intentional about that.
All right. So let's talk about that intentional stuff. Let's talk about what we can do to have our brand known. So what are some things that we can be doing so that, I mean, you kind of gave a couple of examples there.
The behavioral one is kind of the low-hanging fruit there. But also think about, how do people learn about you?
Well, I think I have a website, you know, we have a website.
You have an Instagram.
We have an Instagram. We have,
but even you personally, you have a LinkedIn, you've got an Instagram, you got Facebook. We all have some type of digital footprint out there. So think about what you're putting out there.
Right.
So let's continue. I want to be perceived as like the best organization or the best operational person because I'm checking every box. I'm very organized. What's my LinkedIn going to look like? Well, it's going to be very clean. It's going to be very well done. I'm going to be commenting on things like that. So I might be commenting on somebody's accomplishment and saying something about, you know, what a great example of setting a goal and achieving it. I'm going to, my workspace is going to reflect someone who's in charge. I'm going to be raising my hand to do that kind of work. Now, this is a caveat because you mentioned most of our audience is people who are either on a career break or returning from one. You can be very strategic. We actually call it strategic volunteerism, and where you raise your hand. So if I want to be kind of the project manager, the person who's checking the boxes and keeping things organized, I'm not going to volunteer to be the recess person.
Right.
That's not going to help me build that brand. But I am going to volunteer to be the event coordinator or the scheduler for all of the soccer teams, the things that help me not only build those skills, but showcase them.
Right.
So behavior and kind of digital footprint. And the digital footprint extends beyond LinkedIn because not all of our students are active on LinkedIn or our clients are active on LinkedIn. It could be, what does your Instagram look like? What does your Facebook look like? We notice those things. When I go to somebody's page and it's like, oh, they match it. It's so clean. Everything's cut nicely. It looks so great. I'm immediately thinking, this person is really on the ball. They're organized. They're a process person.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last one that we really want to highlight here is that you can't just do this willy-nilly, a little bit here, a little bit there, or even if you're just doing it as, you know, in your everyday world, you need to have goals. You need to have targets that you are trying to achieve because that's what's going to get you to the end goal of potentially landing a job or that's for our
for our career launches.
Or having people who are going to support you in the relaunch of your career because they know and see,
Mhm.
oh, this is who Susan Davey is. I'm going to make sure that I'm connecting her with so-and-so because
Yeah.
I know who to connect her with because of her brand.
I used to hate in the corporate world, and have to sit with my manager and write down like 5, 1, 5, 10-year goals.
Mhm.
So don't think of it in terms of time. Think of it in terms of what do I want to be doing? And always be looking ahead. So if my role has always been in a support role as the box checker and the organizer and logistics, but I really want to get into a role where I'm creating the vision
Mhm.
and then hiring someone else to do the box checking, then I need to think about how do I create that kind of brand so that people will think of me as a candidate for that. So that means doing maybe some of your own, some learning on your own time,
Mhm.
taking LinkedIn courses, joining resource groups, even local community colleges or
Mhm.
local high schools sometimes in bigger cities have really robust continuing ed programs.
Mhm.
So thinking about
And sharing some of that learning on LinkedIn, so you become somebody who is a resident expert on this
that's a great
particular
idea.
topic.
Yep.
Mhm.
So setting yourself up as someone who really knows a lot. Thinking about that brand, I want to move into a leadership role. It may be I'm going to volunteer now to head this committee.
Mhm.
That could be in an organization or in a volunteer role. So thinking about where you want to be, what you need to get there, and then how you can start to bring about those natural branding tendencies for yourself so that people perceive you that way.
Mhm.
And can't really do that unless you're thinking about where you want to go. So that's where those goals and visions come in that Kelley mentioned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so there you have it, how you can develop your own personal brand. If you liked what you heard today, you can hit like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We put out new content every Monday. If you want to learn more about us and our programs, you can visit us at www.preparetolaunchu.com.